Hello everyone, I am Casey the Gamer, and it's time for another game review. It's time to take a look at Mega Man X's first adventure, remade for the PSP. It's time for Mega Man Maverick Hunter X.
Mega Man Maverick Hunter X.
Before I get into the details for this game, the timing of this review marks a whole year of me doing game reviews, and it has been a blast. Thank you all so much for your support. Watching my videos, sharing them, leaving nice comments, it all means so much to me. So thank you very much. And I was a little surprised how well the timing of this all worked out. My very first review was for the original Mega Man X, and here we are looking at the remake a year later. Mega Man Maverick Hunter X was developed by Capcom and released in Japan on December 15th, 2005, and on January 31st, 2006 in North America for the PSP. I didn't have a PSP at the time of this game's release, but I know one of my friends did, and he had this game, so I got to check it out a little bit that way. I eventually got a PSP of my own, and my own copy of this game. Honestly, this was the only game I wanted a PSP for, and pretty much it's the main game that I think of when I think about the PSP. I haven't played this game nearly as much as the original, but I have still played it a lot and beaten it many times. With all of that out of the way, let's take a closer look at Mega Man Maverick Hunter X. There are spoilers ahead for the story of the game, I suppose. I won't really be going into too much detail because this game doesn't really change too much from the original, but that's totally fine. Maverick Hunters X and Zero band together to stop Sigma's war against the humans. While Zero is off gathering intel on the location of Sigma's base, X must battle the 8 Mavericks working with Sigma. Once all 8 of the Mavericks are defeated, Zero transmits the location of Sigma's base, and X heads there right away. X begins battling his way through the base, and begins to encounter rebuilt versions of the defeated Mavericks. However, this time, it seems as though they are soulless husks. X defeats all of the Mavericks again, as well as some other more powerful Mavericks, before running into Zero, who had been defeated by Vile, Sigma's right-hand man. Zero summons the remainder of his strength and jumps on Vile's back. Zero sacrifices himself to destroy Vile's ride armor. Now, it's just down to X and Vile. X easily mops the floor with Vile and goes to check on Zero. Zero is literally in pieces and dying, and he tells X to go on and defeat Sigma. After defeating one more giant Maverick, X finally reaches Sigma. Before X can fight Sigma, he must fight Sigma's dog, Velgarder. X doesn't hold back and decimates Velgarder and then both of Sigma's forms. X can then be seen watching as Sigma's base crumbles and crashes into the ocean. This game doesn't give us an insight into X's thoughts in that moment like the original does, but I imagine that X is thinking all of the same things, like about why he chose to fight and how long he'll have to keep fighting and all that kind of stuff. The game ends with a recording of Dr. Light talking about how special X is and what he will mean for the world, as X can be seen driving off into the city on his ride chaser. Upon beating the game, there are 2 additional story things unlocked. There is the Day of Sigma, which is like a 25-minute animated special that details the events leading up to the main story of the game. It's really great. The visuals are awesome, and so is the voice acting. It makes me think of how cool it would have been to have gotten a Mega Man X anime or a cartoon or whatever. Oh well. Anyway, if you want to watch it and you don't have access to this game, it is included on the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, despite this game not being in the collection. Or, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. The other thing that you unlock when you beat the game is Vile Mode. In Vile Mode, you play as Vile, who is on a quest to prove that X isn't all that special. Vile defeats all of Sigma's Mavericks instead of X, and at the end, Vile battles both X and Zero. It's a very close fight, but X and Zero end up victorious, leaving Vile damaged and defeated on the ground. Sigma finds him and contacts someone to come retrieve him as Vile goes offline. I think that the story is done really well here, in the main mode, Vile mode, and in the Day of Sigma video. Like I said, this game doesn't change too much from the original, but it does have the opportunity to flesh out the characters' personalities, which I think is really cool. The gameplay in Maverick Hunter X is exactly what you expect from a Mega Man X game. You run, jump, dash, and shoot your way through the game while battling the evil Mavericks. Things are a bit different in Vile mode, but I'll get to that a bit later. For the main mode of the game, you play as X, and he plays just like he always does. As with the other X games, there are a variety of things to find throughout the stages. There are the 8 heart tanks that increase your health, the 4 sub-tanks that you can use to store extra energy to heal yourself, and the 4 armor capsules to upgrade your abilities. The heart tanks and the sub-tanks are all located in the same spots as before. The armor capsules, however, are still located in the same stages, but they have swapped what armor capsules are on which stage. 3 out of the 4 armor capsules are in the exact same spot, but the one on Chill Penguin's stage has been moved slightly so you can ignore it if you want, making it possible to do an armorless challenge if you wanted. In the original, you have no choice but to get the upgrade on that stage, unless you could glitch by it or something. I don't know. Anyway, the leg upgrade is now located in Flame Mammoth's stage, and it allows you to dash, making it so you can move faster. This part also allows you to break blocks by jumping off of them. The head upgrade is located in Chill Penguin's stage, and it allows you to break blocks with a headbutt. The body part is located in Storm Eagle's stage, and it reduces the damage that you take. And the arm cannon upgrade is located in Sting Chameleon's stage, and it gives you a more powerful charge shot and allows you to charge up boss weapons. There are also some extra goodies. Like in the original game, the Hadouken is once again available, and it's still found on Armored Armadillo's stage. You once again have to have beaten all of the bosses and have all of the items. But instead of reaching the end of the stage and dying several times to make the capsule show up, you just have to make it through the whole stage without taking damage. I know that sounds hard, but just use the charged up version of Rolling Shield, it will protect you from the weaker enemies completely. You just have to be careful around the stronger ones because they will make the shield go away if they hit you. But after you have the shield up, switch to one of your other weapons to deal with any enemies that your shield can't. Once you get to the end, you'll get the Hadouken. Like in the original game, you have to be at full health in order to use the Hadouken, and it still kills bosses in one hit. It's even better than in the original though. In the original, you couldn't use it on Final Form Sigma, but in this one, you can. If you can nail 3 Hadoukens in a row on the final stage, you'll finish that stage in no time. The other extra goodie is Zero's arm cannon parts. In order to get them, you have to ignore the normal arm cannon upgrade. Zero will then give them to you after you defeat Vile. Now, in the original game, if you didn't get the arm parts for whatever reason, Zero would give you his, and it would be identical to the one you can get from the capsule. In this game, it's different. Zero's arm cannon has a different and more powerful charge shot. It also charges up boss weapons, but if you go this route, you can't get the Hadouken. But Zero's arm cannon still makes pretty quick work of Sigma. The one downside for Zero's arm cannon is that you barely have time to use it. In the original game, you would fight Vile on the very first Sigma stage. But in this one, you don't fight him until the 3rd Sigma stage. So you don't get the new arm parts from Zero until right before the final stage. In X's mode, there are 13 stages for you to blast your way through. There's the intro stage, the 8 Maverick stages, and the final 4 Sigma stages. On the intro stage, you'll have your first battle with Vile. In the original game, you had to lose to Vile no matter what. But in Maverick Hunter X, you actually have to defeat him. Once Vile is defeated, you are presented with the 8 Maverick stages. I went with a little bit of a different order than I do in the original game. I went with Flame Mammoth first in order to get the leg upgrade, and after that my boss order was Chill Penguin, Storm Eagle, Spark Mandrill, Armored Armadillo, Launch Octopus, Boomer Kuwanger, and then Sting Chameleon. It's not the exact weakness order because I was getting some upgrades. If you were to go in the weakness order starting with Flame Mammoth like I did, but ignoring specific items, it would go Flame Mammoth, Chill Penguin, Spark Mandrill, Armored Armadillo, Launch Octopus, Boomer Kuwanger, Sting Chameleon, and then Storm Eagle. It's not too far off of what I did, but yeah. Anyway, with the Mavericks defeated, it's time for the Sigma stages. This game does have you running into the rebuilt Mavericks throughout the stages, like in the original game, instead of just having a big room full of teleporters to the bosses like the later games did. But the Mavericks are all weak to the same stuff as they were before. Each of the Sigma stages has some powerful bosses at the end. The first Sigma stage has the boss Spider, and it is weak to Shotgun Ice. The second stage has you fight Rangda Bangda, and it's weak to Chameleon Sting. On the third Sigma stage, you fight Vile, who is weak to the Rolling Shield, and then you also fight the D-Rex Tank, which is weak to Boomerang Cutter. Then we move on to the final stage where we battle Velgarder and the 2 forms of Sigma. Velgarder is weak to Shotgun Ice, Sigma Phase 1 is weak to the Electric Spark, and Sigma Phase 2 is weak to the Rolling Shield. And again, they're all weak to the Hadouken, so if you just want to be done with them, you know what to do. And with Sigma defeated, you have beaten the game and unlocked Vile Mode. In Vile mode, you play as Vile. It's shocking, I know. Vile mode is really fun, but it can be really difficult, especially at the start. Vile is very squishy until you start to build him up. He also can't dash, so that sucks. He doesn't really get any armor upgrades like X does, but he does get a couple of items that reduce the damage he takes and lets him move a little bit faster. Like X, Vile does get heart tanks and sub-tanks. Some of them are a bit of a pain in the butt to get your hands on. So, Vile is known for using ride armor, and there are various points in the game where you find Vile's ride armor to use, but you only have like 32 seconds or something to use it. If you get hit, you lose time. You can get more time by picking up weapon energy, but it is a huge pain. Getting the items that required it took several tries. I would have rather seen a gauge like for the Giga attacks or something, where you have to build it up and then you can summon the armor wherever and then use it for a limited time. It might have made it too easy, but it would have definitely been more fun. Vile starts with 3 weapons at his disposal. He has finger guns, the shoulder cannon, and the grenade launcher in his leg. Upon beating bosses, you will gain access to new weapons in each category and even get some other variations. Like instead of getting finger guns, you can get some fist attacks, or instead of a cannon, you'll get a laser or something like that. Each of these weapons costs a certain number of points. At the start, the max points that Vile can equip isn't very high, but the further you get into the game, you'll gain more points that you can use. It's really fun experimenting. There's a lot of weapons that you can mess around with. Find the combo that works best for you. In Vile mode, there are 12 stages. The intro stage, the 8 Maverick stages, and 3 Sigma stages. In the intro stage, you fight X. After that, you have the 8 boss stages to choose from. I didn't really follow a particular boss order in Vile's mode. My main piece of advice for Vile mode is to beat Chill Penguin first and get the distance needler weapon and equip that. It's not as fast-paced as the default machine gun fingers, but it does way more damage and has pretty good distance. I used it pretty much the whole game. I believe I also used the default grenade launcher too. But yeah, beat Chill Penguin and then go in any order you want. Yeah. Anyway, once the Mavericks are dealt with, Vile enters the Sigma stages, and he also has to fight the boss spider and Rangda Bangda. Vile never gets to fight the D-Rex or Sigma though. The final boss fight for Vile is a fight against X and Zero. It's really cool to see those two work together, but being on the receiving end can be a little tough. Once you defeat them, Vile seems to have the upper hand in the cutscene, but X and Zero manage to narrowly defeat him. Vile mode was really fun, like I said. A bit rough at the start, but a lot better once I started getting upgrades. I really wish that there would have been a Zero mode too. Like, yeah, I know we've played as Zero before, but we haven't played as X1 Zero. It probably wouldn't have offered much different from X, but it would have been really fun. Maverick Hunter X is tons of fun, and the gameplay feels really damn good. The graphics in Maverick Hunter X are really good. Instead of 2D pixel art, we have a great looking 2.5D game. The characters, bosses, and backgrounds all look great. And there are a few anime cutscenes sprinkled throughout the game, as well as the 25-minute Day of Sigma special, and those all look great as well. I do, however, still prefer the pixel art of the original game. The sound effects, they are top-notch Mega Man sound effects. They fit the game perfectly. No complaints at all. And the soundtrack is fantastic. It features updated remixes of the original songs, and they all sound great. There's no complaints of the sound quality on this one, like on the Game Boy Color games. Like with the graphics though, I do prefer the original game's versions of the music, but the ones in this game are still really, really good. And Maverick Hunter X once again features voice acting. It uses the same team as Mega Man X8, so there are some really good performances in the game. And that was Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, a remake of my favorite game of all time, and the only game I even wanted a PSP for. While I will always prefer the original, I really loved the things that they incorporated and added into this game. I'm really sad that there were never any remakes of the other games, but that's what happens when you stick it on the PSP. I love Sony, but they did not take care of their handhelds at all, really. But that is besides the point. Mega Man Maverick Hunter X is a wonderful game, and I definitely recommend checking it out. When I dive back into the X series, I will be taking a look at Mega Man X Command Mission, the turn-based RPG. Thank you all so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And if you want to see more of me, you can catch me streaming all kinds of stuff over on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/CaseyTheGamer91. And I also have a Patreon where you can get perks like early video access and some other really cool stuff. And that is patreon.com/CaseyTheGamer91. You can find both of those links and all of my other links in the description below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to catch you next time. Peace out.
It is an unfortunate fact that human life is short and fleeting. I fear that I will not have the time to ensure the safety of the X project. That is why I have decided to seal him away. Perhaps he will be discovered in the far-flung future and will fight valiantly to ensure peace for all people. Yes, I firmly believe that this will come to pass. But I am not without worry. I fear that X will be swept up in the war we call progress. I urge the people of the future to remember that X is my, nay, the world's hope.